Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Patrick Precourt here, Real Estate Worldwide. Welcome to this week's Monday Mindset Call. Great to have you guys here. Pretty amped up. Actually, very amped up, jacked up after spending the last uh, eight or 9 days down in Jamaica performing a charitable mission. It's called Job Mobility, and it's part of the Jamaica Wheelchair Foundation that provides wheelchairs to underprivileged people who can't afford them. And they get a weird thing down in Jamaica where wheelchairs are outrageously expensive, like $2,000-3,000, and that's it's like months and months and months of income for them, right? So anyways, it was pretty wild. Brought the whole family down there, and we spent a lot of time in the back country, out in the bush, getting to know some of these amazing people and listening to some of their amazing stories. But it's certainly a humbling experience, especially when you come back to what we all have, and you're reminded of how much we take for granted every single day. There's children there, not that I'm going to get on a soapbox here, but there's children there that are born with diseases, and the diseases incapacitate them from walking, spinal malfunctions that paralyze them for life from birth, and their only form of transportation to school is by foot. So if they're incapable of walking, they're incapable of getting educated as well. So it's like a double-edged sword. It's a double whammy. And then we look back at what we bitch about every day, and you're like, my issues just aren't issues anymore. Good afternoon, Eugene. Thanks for speaking up and saying good afternoon. Good to see you here. So anyways, jacked up, and I spent a little time while I was down there with some other amazing entrepreneurs, and we pulled ourselves aside for the last couple of days as after we had actually built and framed and delivered these wheelchairs, and we're like, what a good time to kind of reflect and mastermind a little. So I did a couple days of masterminding with these guys, where I facilitated about 3-4 hours each morning, and what a lot of our discussions had boiled down to, I'm going to share with you today. And that's what's kind of cool about this, is that you're getting the intense mind sharing of about 15 or 18 amazing individuals. I'm going to bring it back to you in about half an hour here. So, welcome. So Dave checking in. This is welcome home. Thank you for leading by example. Yeah, well, thank you for recognizing that, Dave. It's I brought my whole family down, and that was kind of my drive to be down there to experience the family to something different. And quite honestly, it couldn't have been better, And it's kind of funny, and parents, you all get this, but it's worth repeating. Kids, they don't listen to what you say. You may think they do, but they don't. Your example is by what you do. When you start seeing behavior in your kids, man, oftentimes you got to stop and see, is that a reflection of what you're truly teaching them, or you're still trying to cover up with saying one thing but living in a state of hypocrisy. And there's no parent out there that at some point wasn't hypocritical, right? It is what it is. We like to think that we get better though every day, catch those things on our own, and raise our own standards. That's the highest level of personal mastery, when your expectations of yourself, when your own self-standards are higher than anyone else expects or accepts of you. That's pushing you down the path of self-mastery. Juanita, how are you? Thanks for checking in. All right, so here we go. You've heard a lot of this discussion, as did these amazing entrepreneurs. But I'm going to kind of bring it together in a way that, call it a little life hack, call it a little way to measure our decision making each day. We have to start with some baselines. Baseline number one: our decisions shape our reality. Our decisions shape the model of our world. Our decisions dictate exactly what we deserve in this world. That's rule number one here. Okay, it all starts with our decision making. Number two, we have right now everything to the exact degree that we deserve it. You, me, everyone we know. We have everything in our health the way we deserve it. Fat, skinny, fit, unfit. You got exactly what you deserve. Your bank account, your relationships, your spirituality, your emotional stability. It's kind of funny because there's not a lot of emphasis in America, the American way, on emotional strength. And boy, I run into some very emotionally weak people on a regular basis, and masses of them, where one little word can set them off. Somebody insults them, they're done. That's another discussion, right? So we have everything that we deserve to the exact degree that we deserve it, and our deserving is a function of the decisions we made up leading up to now, okay? And I don't want to get off on a tangent, but Pat, this super bad thing happened to the super nice person. You saying they deserved it? That's a whole discussion. What I would say, just so we're not getting lost in this, right, that decisions that super nice person made leading up to that super bad thing that happened contributed to it happening to them. Okay? And I don't know them, I don't know the situation, but that's the truth. That's not to say, so don't confuse that with you're saying they chose it. No, no, no. Sometimes decisions we make, right, have completely sometimes decisions we make have completely undesired outcomes, right? Undesired consequences. So no, to say you make a decision and it gets a consequence, and then to say, well, does that mean I decided on that outcome? No, but you contributed to it. A decision you made led you to that point. Therefore, you got to take ownership and responsibility of it. And the third foundation, right? Rule number one is our decisions shape our reality. Rule number two is we have everything to the exact degree that we deserve it at this moment in time. Rule number three, this all falls flat on our face if we don't choose to accept full responsibility and accountability. Responsibility is what's got us to where we're at. We're taking responsibility for everything that's happened up till now. Accountability for what's going to happen going forward. Accountability means you're going to change the decisions you made to get different results and outcomes. But if we choose not to accept responsibility for what's happened, it means we'll give up control of changing anything going forward. You don't take any responsibility, you can't take any accountability. Responsibility is owning what got us here. That's what empowers us. Accountability is the ability to change what's going to happen to us. Two go hand in hand. Can't have one without the other. So unfortunately, another piece of like our broken adult human DNA is that we like to take responsibility up to a point, but we do not like being held accountable. Accountable is responsible for what's going to happen next. You and I own that. The economy doesn't own that. The president doesn't own that. The partner that screwed you doesn't own that. What happens next is wholly based on decisions that you and I are going to make. So if you accept those three as truth, it's the foundation of this discussion. Nothing's absolute. There's always exceptions. I get all that crap. Put that aside, okay? Let's all move forward together here. If you accept those three foundations as truth, let's talk about decision making, okay? So I want to share a couple things with you. These aren't the only things, and this is really a 3-day intensive to get through in great depth. But each week I'm going to pepper you with little pieces here so we can work on them. And the idea is not just to walk away from this and do nothing, right? The idea is to walk away and put some of this to work. The idea is not to sit here playing on your computer. You're just wasting your time. You cannot do two things at once. Your mind can only focus on one. There's only one that you will retain. And if for a second you look over here and read one thing you've missed everything that was said during that moment in time forever. Stop lying to yourself about this stuff. Oh, I could do two things at once. Bullshit. You can't. It's proven in science how the brain works. You can't. So, let's get started. Decisions. Okay? Holy Christmas, I have this other thing streaming live, right? And it keeps getting interrupted, even though I said don't interrupt me. Decisions. Where do our decisions come from? So there's two filters that we're not going to focus on today. We're going to focus on these in another call, right? That all of our decisions go through. One of them is our beliefs, and one of them is our core value system. One of them is our beliefs, and one of them is our core value system. There's only two things that separate all people. Number one is the top two needs out of the 6 basic human needs. Which two are pulling you the hardest? And number two, how we choose to fill those needs. That's it. Those are the two defining moments. What are your top 2 basic human needs at this moment in time, at this moment in your life? And what are you doing to fill them? You can have the same need. You and I can have the same need, right? And we choose to fill it differently. When I get in my late 30s, right, 38, 39, I needed variety in my life. I needed a very high level. I've been doing the same thing for so long, right? I chose getting into martial arts, and it met another basic human need of growing for me. So now I have variety, now I have growth all coming in together. Then, as I started getting more fit, feeling better about myself, getting stronger, it added a certain relativeness, or a certain relative significance to me. Now it's hitting 3 of my basic human needs. You know what? When you have an emotion, a thought, an idea, an action, and it meets 3 or more of your basic human needs, it becomes a habit. I don't know how we're getting off so quickly here, but that's another discussion, right? So the only thing that separates our people in general are their 2 basic human needs that they need the most right now, and how they choose to fill them. The decisions to fill them go through a couple filters, one being our belief system and one being our core value system. If some dude in his mid-40s who's been married to his wife for 20 years old, for 20 years, is in need of variety in his life, and he has a very unestablished core value system that's weak, and maybe he's feeling a little insignificant at home at the same time, not relative, not needed. He's out one night on a business trip out somewhere. He's having a bunch of cocktails at a bar, and some young lady starts paying attention to him, making him feel significant, making him feel relative, making him feel needed, getting excitement back in his life. Without that core value system to filter the next decision that could happen at that moment, he can make a very poor decision, and then he would deserve everything that he got after that. I'm using this example because I just spoke to a gentleman just like that, not on this trip, but before, okay? And he wrecked his life in one decision. Irony is that he still loved his wife the whole time. That wasn't why he did what he did. But he didn't have the proper filters in place to check his decision-making along the way. And every decision you make, every decision I make, alters slightly the trajectory that we're on in life. Does that make sense? Every decision affects the trajectory that we're on. Okay. So what I want to share with you today, okay, and those are just kind of some broader ideas right there, right? What I want to share with you today is how events affect our decision making, okay? Events and decision making. Show you the process, show you how to start taking control of it, provided you want to change your decision making. Now, without getting too deep into this part, we have what's called prompters, deep down inside, okay, that are in our subconscious, that are a result of different experiences we have in our life. They're basically put there out of fear and to protect us, but they go unchecked. We don't understand them. And these prompters, effectively, come up with a predetermined result, decision, outcome to events that happen. An example would be a police officer, a police car coming flying up behind you on the road, lights blaring, sirens going, right? We have a subconscious, visceral response to that. Heart rate immediately goes up. right? We breathe a little differently. We tense up. Why? You're not doing anything wrong. Why is that? What happens next is a decision and then an action or result. And typically what will happen, particularly if you're on a highway, you'll immediately start to slow down, even though you might be going the speed limit. Doesn't make any sense. And I'm using a common day action or event that happens to all of us that we could relate to. Okay? Watch the process that we go through here. Okay? When an event happens, okay, there's an event, whatever it may be, okay? Event happens, we then label it. We then put meaning to it. The meaning creates a feeling or emotion that then directly affects our actions, results, and outcomes. Okay? This happens 1,000 times a day. And the challenge is that this part right here, which I left out, decision, most important part, right? These go unchecked. These go at a subconscious level, yet every single one of them is changing that the trajectory that we're on in life. We're just letting it happen. We're running on software that's been plugged into our brain. Event, label it, meaning, feeling, emotion, decision, action, results, and outcomes. The event, I got this new list of mailers, of people to call. Label it, scary, might fail. Meaning, I'm scared. Feeling, emotion, fear, anxiety. Decision, gonna procrastinate. Action, nothing happens. Results and outcome, nothing happens. Event. Somebody cut you off on the road, getting off the highway. One alternative label would be, that guy intentionally cut me off. What does it mean? It means he's an a-hole. What's the emotion? I'm angry. What's the decision? I'm going to tailgate him and flip him off and give him the finger. What's the action? I tailgate him and give him the finger. What's the result and outcome? At the light, he gets out and breaks my window with a crowbar. Whose life got better? All based on how you chose to label the event. You chose to label the event. Alternative. The event. Somebody cuts you off getting off the exit. Label. He didn't see me. It was an accident. Meaning, I'm the most luckiest person in the world because I could have gotten an accident, but it didn't happen. And my 2-year-old in the back seat is super safe. Luck follows me everywhere. Feeling an emotion of gratitude and humility. Decision. I got to share this with someone. Allow someone else to feel better. Results and outcomes. You feel better. They feel better. Your tribe feels better. You better the world. You'll attract betterment into your life. Anger repels betterment, attracts crap into your life. What you put out, you get back. And every time you put it out, it's forever. That energy and emotions and feelings are energy are out there forever. They don't turn around. They attract back into your life exactly what you put out. And they do not go away. Starting to get this? Event. You get your brand new list of motivated sellers. Label. Opportunity is knocking. Meaning, I'm an entrepreneur and I create. I'm going to turn opportunity potential into power. Feeling an emotion. I feel empowered. I feel lucky. I feel grateful. Because I'm an entrepreneur with the ability to create power out of potential. Decision. Pumping out the mail. Direct calling. Those are your actions. You decide to do them, you take the actions. Results. You get new leads. You get new people to talk to. You turn potential into, which we'll just leave it, potential into dollars. When you make dollars, you feel like you've grown. You feel like you've contributed. You feel like you've accomplished. Your self-confidence goes up. The event is even bigger next time around. You chose to label it differently. Starting to get this? It's a simple formula, right? Now go back to where we started. Your decisions shape your world. Your decisions shape your outcomes. You are in charge of your decisions, not anyone else. You have in your life everything to the exact degree that you deserve it, here and now. Your deserving can be changed, but you have to change something. You have to deserve it at a higher level. You've got to change your decisions. If you want a healthier body, make better decisions about what you eat and how you train. For more money in your bank account, make better decisions about who you choose to become so that you can do, so you can have. Remember that order? We've shared this before. Be, do, have. It's not have, do, be. You can have anything you want, provided you deserve it. You can deserve it by changing your decisions. If there's something that you wanted to work on this week, okay, I would check every event that happens to you. Become conscious to them. How am I labeling this event? Am I labeling it in a way that serves me so that I make decisions that I grow from, or am I labeling them in a way that do not serve me? I'll give you one last barometer. I may have shared this with you a week or two ago. Right? I call it classes of decisions. Right? There's 4 classes of decisions. 2 serve us and 2 destroy us. 2 serve us, 2 destroy us. The first class of decision, called class 1, is characterized by a decision that serves you in the present. It makes you feel better now. It's good for you in the immediate. But it's also good for you long term. That decision is good for you down the road. Okay? So it serves you now, it serves you later. It also serves the tribe that surrounds you, those who you influence, those who pay attention to you, your immediate family, your coworkers, your subordinates, whatever they may be. And then it also serves the universe as a greater whole. Are you bringing a positive energy to the world, or are you bringing a negative energy to the world? Are you contributing to it or stealing from it? Right? That's class number 1. Class number 2. A decision that might be painful in the immediate but pleasurable in the long term. Serves you long term but might experience a little pain in the immediate. It still serves the tribe around you that looks up to you and pays attention to you, and also still a positive add to the universe. You're not taking, you're adding to the universe. Working out would be a perfect example of that. Restricting a diet, cutting out crap that you know is killing you anyways, right? Would be a perfect example of that. In the first category, look, well, Pat, what is good for me now, good for me later, good for the tribe, good for the universe? Any type of charity work. I learned that this past week. In the immediate, it's immediately making me feel awesome. I will forever feel awesome for doing it and being there. It serves those who look up to me and that I have an influence on, and certainly a value add to the world, to the universe at large, right? So those 2 categories are where our decisions should fall. If they don't, You're making poor decisions. Just being honest with you, okay? And sometimes our pride and sometimes our little wallowing pity get in the way of this crap. I get it, right? Still your choice. You still got to own it. Still got to be responsible for where you've been and where you're going. Responsibility and accountability to go hand in hand. Third category, decision that serves you or is pleasurable in the short term, but harms you in the long term. Because it's not good for you long term, it's not good for the universe, and it's not good for those looking up to you. What could that be? Doing drugs. You feel good in the short term, I suppose. That's one example of it. Stealing. And you feel good, made some money, feel good now. But guess what you put out always comes back. Simple law of cause and effect. It's both a scientific law and a spiritual law. It's unavoidable, unbreakable. You may think you dodge it. Nobody knows. Got away with it. No. Spiritual law of cause and effect doesn't work that way. You always get back what you put out. Always. Fourth category, rather. Okay? And this one you say, well, I don't make decisions there. I would never harm myself intentionally. Decisions that harm you in the immediate. Decisions that harm you long term. Decisions that take down your tribe. And decisions that certainly steal from the universe are negative decisions. What would be an example of that? I guarantee you, people on this call, not all of you, of course, but there's people on this call that make these decisions on a regular, daily basis. Then they wonder why they don't deserve more out of life and there's not more on their side of the scale. And I'm not judging. Just bring clarity and awareness, consciousness to our truth. And before I explain the example of this, do know that every decision we make that's a poor decision, a wrong decision, right, is really a movement towards the truth, provided we accept the knowledge that it's giving us back, because there'll always be a response to a crappy decision, and there will be feedback that's getting us closer to the truth, provided our eyes and ears and heart are open to hear the message. Okay? So what kind of decision would be in the fourth class? Remember labeling events? You label an event. That guy intentionally tried cutting me off. That's the event. Label. What does it mean? Guy's an absolute jackass. What's the feeling or emotion? Here we go. Anger. Vengeance. Those type of emotions that we choose immediately harm our well-being. Immediately put our trajectory that we're on in a crazy direction. Immediately start tracking bullcrap just right back into our lives. They harm us now. They harm us long-term. The tribe around us is brought down by those decisions. Yeah, Pat, though, I got road rage. I got anger issues. No, you got irresponsibility issues, son. Come to terms with that. Don't give me this, I have anger issues. That's just some bullcrap label that some psychologist somewhere came up with so they could forever treat you. It's not your fault, Sonny. It's not your fault. You got anger issues. Come on. Come on. You guys aren't here by chance. You're here because you're adults that want to change the world for the better, right? But we got to own this stuff. But no but, right? When you choose such a vengeance type feeling, emotion, anger, you're harming yourself intentionally. You're creating a treason against you, against your family, against your tribe, and anyone around you who looks up to you. Yeah, you're doing that. Harms you now, harms you long term, harms them, and brings down the universe. Just take ownership of it. But it's easy to blame because we don't have. It's not our fault. It's not our fault. We can't fix it. And I'd suggest that if that's your truth, then you're right. Nothing's going to change. The moment you own it, yeah, you know what? Matter of fact, I could choose something different. Yeah. Now you get a little responsibility for where you came. Now it's adding a little accountability. So changing this stuff. Not judging at all, okay? I get angry. Not judging. Just bring consciousness how this stuff all ties together, right? In an ideal world, we'd work towards avoiding those types of bad choices. Victimhood lies way down here. Gratitude, way up here. You want a little life hack? When you find yourself with a predetermined label, and that's an event and a label, which unfortunately are deep inside our subconscious, and until we label over them and put meaning over them, they'll stay there. But when you find yourself being pulled down, a little life hack to immediately snap yourself out and bringing yourself to a state of gratitude. Gratitude cannot coexist. It's such a high vibration emotion. It cannot coexist with one of these garbage emotions that take you down. Pity and wallow and anger and vengeance and greed. Nah, lack. Nah, yuck. By virtue of being on this call, you're amazingly, amazingly special. Not because of me, don't take that wrong. That's not an egotistical statement. I'm just speaking to how freaking gifted you are, blessed you are. We got to constantly keep reminding ourselves of that. You say, well, Pat, I don't feel that way. Well, feelings are a choice. You're not allowing yourself to see how awesome you are, how awesome your life is. Remember, one of the shortest paths to attracting wealth and abundance and prosperity and all that is good into our lives is a very simple mindset. Being able to be grateful for where we are, for everything that we have in our life right now, grateful for it all, and always wanting more. The two go hand in hand. When I see people putting off happiness, when you're grateful, you're happy. But it's easy to put off happiness till some other event that has a certain label and meaning and feeling happens. Right? When I graduate high school, when I get the new car, when I get the new house, when I get the right spouse, when I pay off my student debt, when I retire, when I get my next deal done, I get it. We're putting off happiness until another event with a label and a meaning and an emotion and a feeling that we want. When in fact, because we keep putting it off, we're pushing it off. Because we keep putting this off, we're pushing this off. Remember that? You can't have first. You have to become, and then do, and then have. Yet we're putting off the becoming until we get the results that we think the actions are going to get us so that we can feel better. It simply doesn't work that way. Grateful now and always wanting more. And I'll close this up on this, okay? There's a thought about, well, isn't always wanting more greedy? No, greed is greedy. Always wanting more is simply fulfilling your God-given innate skills and talents that make you so freaking awesome and unique. To not be all you can be given those would be to disrespect your own soul. It would be to slap God in the face for spending so much awesomeness designing you to be a one-off model. There ain't nobody else like you. Never will be. And to not always create from that position. And to create is to grow, and to grow is to have more. But you have to want to always be more. Starting to get this? And to not do that is to slap your creator in the face. It's to kick your own soul to the ground. It's your greater responsibility. Your ability to impact this world in a positive way is enhanced every time you get bigger. Pretty cool, right? All right, guys and girls, I'm going to wrap this up. You guys are awesome, man. Greedy is holding myself back. I don't get that. Say that again. Say that another way. Could you just choose not to be greedy if that's what you're saying? The oldest cultivation system from ancient China, the original, also the most powerful. I think you're talking about Christina, what we were talking about earlier. I think. Juanita, this is awesome. Thank you. My wife thanks you for that example. I think that was about having a core value system. It's important, man. Got to filter this stuff from somewhere, right? Well, let me close a couple of these. Life is an echo that always comes back to you. Absolutely. It's a simple one. I'll tell you, there's some laws that are scientific and some are spiritual, and there's some that cross over both realms. Those are the ones that pay most attention to. Steve, thanks back. Great for share today. Thank you very much, Steve, for your words. Mr. Daniel, great presentation back. Patrick, thank you, Daniel. There's something kind of funny because I'll get a couple emails later today about what does this have to do with real estate. And I get that, and I don't try to tell people anything more than, you know what, the way I see this is there's two sides to being successful. One of them is all you do in the business, and the other one is making sure you're growing this. And if you're not ready for it, there's no judgment passed on you. No problem with that at all. It all comes when it comes, right? It doesn't make you good, doesn't make you bad, just makes you you. No harm, no foul. Choosing to not put myself out there, Mr. Miller. I would agree to myself. All right, so Dave, tell me more. I mean, choosing to not put myself out there. Talk to me about that, brother. Choosing not to, yeah. Well, if you sit hiding all day, yeah, you ain't gonna get anywhere. I get that, but talk to me. Let me know what's going on. I want to hear this. Ms. Debbie Olson. Hi in my rock star status. Hope everything also so true out there. Also so true, Pat. Hope everyone goes out there and becomes better this week, happier, more grateful than they were last week. Nice share, Debbie. Eric's is a driving example, and thank you for bringing back the basics of living your life. They're kind of fundamental blocks, I think, right? But I'll tell you, it's easy to plug yourself into the matrix, bury your head in the sand, and not pay attention to this stuff and just let things happen and fall back on, well, if it's meant to be, it will be. That's the most bullshit, coward statement I've ever heard. That's, hey, listen, I'm just not going to take any responsibility or accountability for it. It's meant to be, it'll be. No. If it's meant to be, it's up to me. That's all you tell yourself. Nothing will happen without you the way you need it to. Take ownership. Thank you for bringing back to basics. We got that one, Mr. Daniel. This has everything to do with real estate. Oh, heck yeah. Heck yeah. Real estate is not about real estate. Real estate is about people. At the end of the day, real estate is about people. Period. You must listen to Joel. He has a lot of great messages like you do. Also, I think you're talking about Joel Osteen, Brad. It was an interesting discussion. I've never heard Joel Osteen speak, and one of my buddies, Corey Boatwright, is suggesting I might bring him on as an interviewee guest. And they're like, would anybody want to show up? And I'm like, yeah, I heard a bunch about this guy. I'll come up. But wow, a lot of people were giving him crap for it too. I guess everybody sees what they see, and they receive what they need to receive at that time, right? There are free audio, video, and books on the website in more than 40 languages. Check it out. It is simple. It is the best. Got it. Got it. Press this. It's funny. It's just I go to read it. If you put in a message, it messes it all up. Everything to do with real estate and real life. Yes, it does. I believe so. Thanks for bringing this to our. Thanks for bringing us to reality, Mr. Ron. Good to see you, Ron. Thanks for the comment, Mr. Miller. Succumbing to the fear of failure could be a form of greed, self-preservation, not exercising my gifts. Not exercising your gifts, yeah. So let's talk about that for a sec, Dave, because you're not the only one here listening that has ever succumbed to greed, or rather to fear. And I guess I would separate greed and fear, right? So fear of failure. You know, there's two underlying drivers that every human, unfortunately, learns over time. They're not born with it, but one, it's the fear of being accepted by others, and that's what you're talking about. Whether the failure part is whether or not others will accept us along the way in our choices and what we do, and if we fail, how will they judge us? So that's number one. But number two is the need to be accepted in the first place. If you're like a master at this and self-mastery was your thing, and you were in full control of choosing your feelings, choosing how to label every event with a meaning that served you, right? Then you would not be subject to, I would not be subject to the need to be accepted by others, right? Something to think about. So Dave, succumbing to the fear of failure could be a form of greed, self-preservation, not exercising my gifts. Let me just for a second label this discussion differently, right? The only way to succeed is to grow. The only way to grow is to get closer to the truth. And the only way to get closer to the truth is to experience failures along the way. What I said is wholly true and without exception. A man who experiences 10 victories in a row will know the path to 10 victories. A man who experiences 10 failures will know the truth to 100 victories. As we get closer to the truth through failure than we do through our successes, Dave. So the labeling would go something like, if I continue to avoid failure, I will perpetuate and guarantee the one thing I fear the most, failing. If I accept that failing is part of the process, I can begin to look forward to it as it will speed up the path to success. And a big part of success is growing in a positive direction, and every failure allows you to do that. Doing nothing allows no growth. Only decisions to move forward, followed by actions, will get you the results that you desire, and anything shy of that, Dave, will guarantee everything that you fear. So every day that you cower to fear, you move one step forward to that which you fear most. That would be another way to label it or look at it. And it's, well, true. Brad says, something that's helped me a lot is when I start having negative thoughts, I place a little delete button in my mind and tell myself delete, and that negative thought goes away. Also, I might have to push the button a few times. Good. So what you bring in, Dave, are built-in triggers, overriding triggers. That's software that automatically is giving if I do this, I label it, I might fail. I'm a failure. The emotion is, well, fear, loss, all that kind of garbage. Nothing happens. What Brad is saying, when this gets to this point, he's got a trigger. Boom. Could be a physical trigger. Could be a mental trigger. Relabel it. That this action I'm considering is the only way I'm going to move forward. Brad, you're using it as a mental delete button, right, to put out, to cancel out that software, which then you have to substitute, as you probably know, immediately with a new one. So one way to get that button to work like flawless is to have the new thought locked and loaded. So the second you delete, it flows right, it fills that void, and that old thought can't come back in. Triggers. Triggers. They're not fake. They're real. Just as real as the one that's stopping you. I told you at the beginning of the show, prompters that we have in our brain. We don't know where they came from, and you don't have to go back and figure that out. You overwrite them. A positive prompter will always, without exception, overwrite a negative prompter. Always, without exception. You don't have to worry about that. The universe set that one up to work that way for us. Kind of cool. So that way, the positive has a greater opportunity to survive over the negative. That allows for a perpetuating universe, right? Dave says, I'm getting this. Problem, not enough leads. So much emotion based on a single appointment. Think it differently, brother. So label, single appointment. I mean, that's the event. The label is that it's one and only, and if I miss it, I'm in trouble. Meaning, they apply to it that I have very little opportunity to succeed, so I'll probably fail. Emotion, fear, anger, demise, lack, just keep snowballing downhill. Event, a lead. Label, every lead is an opportunity without exception. It's got potential. Potential is a bullet sitting in a chamber of a gun. In and of itself, doesn't do squat. The powers recognize upon action. So let's get it to action. Let's get it to action. Label, potential, meaning potential plus action becomes probable. Feeling cessation, I'm feeling good about this. Decision and action, you go in a very optimistic, positive way that you can better this person's world and they're going to better yours. Take the actions, get the results and the outcomes. So here's the thing, Dave. This stuff is going to keep going no matter what. Kind of like TV, it's always on. Whether you watch it or not is moot. Does that make sense? That lead's going to come and go. Whether you act upon it or not is moot. You can sit and talk yourself out of it. You can take action and be in control of the outcome. Analogate it to seconds on a clock at the end of a basketball game, and you need that last point. It's only one shot. If I miss it, I'm a failure. If I make it, I'm a hero. But what if I miss it? 5, 4, what if I miss it? 3, 2, if I miss this one shot, I only got one shot at this, and everybody's right, I'm a loser. 1, ding. Time's going to keep ticking past, no matter what. Whether or not you do or you don't doesn't change the universe's plans. Right? So you might as well do. Cool? Alright, guys, you've been awesome, man. I get into these calls because you guys get into these calls. It's been a pleasure. Be back here live next week. Peace, y'all.